Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Friday afternoon coffee from Spiderworking. I'm Amanda Webb. Did you like my little introduction thing? I stole that idea off someone else. Hope you liked it. Do let me know. So there's 4 of you, and 4 of you watched that introduction as well. So that's kind of cool. Tell me who you are, because I can't see. If you've not used Facebook Live before and you've used Periscope, you'll think I can see who you are, but it doesn't tell me. So do let me know who you are, whereabouts in the world you are. And the idea is we're going to talk about social media. It's been 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks off from doing this. I was on holiday, and then last week I was away, so I couldn't broadcast. So I'm delighted to be back on Facebook Live. I bought some new whiteboards. Are you ready for my first whiteboard? I've not tested this on screen. I'm just going to make sure I'm zoomed all the way out. Oh, that's in. Okay, so here's the number 1 whiteboard. Oh, look, it fits quite well. So this is what I'm going to talk about. If there is a social media topic, a pressing social media topic you'd like to talk about, leave me a comment in the chat box. And don't forget to like this chat so that I know you are here, and I'd love to say hi to you. So tell me, are you here in Ireland with me? Are you somewhere else in the world? Leave me a message. Okay, so the topics are those darn Twitter changes. Yep, there's going to be some huge changes to Twitter coming soon, and they announced them this week, so we'll have a quick chat about that. The second one is emoji madness. I found something out really odd about emojis this week. I'm dying to share that with you. I'm not going to give it away until we get to that one. And number 3, Facebook Live. Yep, that's where we are now, on Facebook Live, but there's a few tips that I picked up, one of which I used at the beginning of the show, which was that countdown timer. And let's just start with the Facebook Live, actually, seeing as we're here. So I'm going out of order already. Just put my whiteboard down. Facebook Live, it's kind of maturing now. It's gone wild. Did everyone watch that woman with the Chewbacca mask? I think it was this time last week. I think that was probably, I think Facebook need to give her a lot of money, because I think that was the best advert you could possibly have for Facebook Live. I thought it was brilliant. She was so genuine. She was so human. She was just telling us a story. Why did it work? There was the anticipation. So there was the build up. For a lot of it, I wouldn't normally watch a video that long, but she seemed lovely. She seemed so happy and delighted with what she'd done, her little story, her trying to get it out of the box. I like Star Wars, so as soon as she said it was a Star Wars thing, I was like, yay, what's this going to be? And it was really compelling. So I suppose I and other people who are doing Facebook Live need to think a little bit more about that. And then, of course, it was basically like a real life Snapchat filter. If you use Snapchat, you'll know there's filters that'll make you do all sorts of things. So when she put that mask on, she had perfect comic timing, the way she looked at the camera, the way that she spoke into it. Now, I don't know anything about this woman. Maybe she's a vlogger. Maybe she's been using YouTube video and Facebook Live and Periscope for a long time. But all I know was for me, that was the funniest thing I've seen in the web for a long time. And obviously a lot of people agreed. And we're used to stuff like that going viral on YouTube or regular Facebook videos, but this was a Facebook Live, so hopefully there's loads more people using it now. Well, not at 4 p.m. I hope I'm the only one using it at 4 p.m. so you all tune in, and that's why I think Facebook, they did bring her out to the Facebook headquarters, but I think they need to hire her or give her a lot of money, because she's really sold it to them. So the tips that I picked up, I gave a webinar to some tourism businesses a few weeks ago about Facebook Live. So there's a couple of tips that I picked up from that. And when I was searching through videos to find them, I found one with that timer idea at the beginning. Now I need to design something a little prettier, of course, I think. But I really like that, because at the beginning of these Facebook Lives, what I used to do was I used to talk about the weather, which is something we do an awful lot of in Ireland, talking about the weather, just to give people time to get on board. So I talk about the weather or what I've been doing today, which is great, but it's not that entertaining. So the idea of having, and it was a little kids broadcast that they'd done. They had kind of a phone with the timer on in the foreground, and it counted down the time to when they started. And I thought it was brilliant, so I stole the idea. A few other things is that you need to have You need to be asking people to interact. So when I am asking you to like this post, please do. When I'm asking you to leave a comment, you don't need to leave a long comment. Just tell me, are you in Kilkenny? We've had people from Kilkenny. Are you in America? Are you in Australia? Are you in Brazil? I'd love to know where you are in the world, because I'd love to be able to comment in real time to you. Also, the time that you spend on Facebook Live. Now, don't get scared. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes here. Probably not going to spend 20 minutes here. But 20 minutes apparently is the optimum time. 20 minutes is the amount of time that it gets someone to come on and check you out. And the more people that come on, the higher you're going to turn up on that map. And the map's the other thing. Do you know about the map? If you're on your desktop, so I do most of my stuff from the desktop, but I believe it's on mobile now as well. You'll notice in the little bit where you've got your menu on the left hand side that there's a map, a live map, and you can click into that and you can see all little dots for everyone that's live in the whole world. It's really cool. Disappointingly few people live in Ireland. There's me, there's Greg Fry. Hello, Greg. And there's now and then there's somebody else. But that's really interesting to look at. And when you get over 100 viewers, I've never had over 100 viewers, that dot gets really big. And when people scroll over a big dot, all these lines come out. And it shows where everyone in the world is actually watching it from. And that's really interesting, because you can see there's somebody broadcasting here, and there's people in Africa, there's people in America, there's people in Ireland watching that Facebook Live. It's incredibly interesting. But what they've added recently, and I don't know how many of you came from the map, do let me know. Just type map into the comment box there if you did. If you've come from the map, it's kind of interesting as well. When you hover over a thing, you can actually see a little preview of the person that's live, which is kind of cool. And on the left hand side, they've got like the most popular videos at the moment. So I can't imagine what happened when the Candice was her name, I think, Mrs. Chewbacca. You can't buy those Chewbacca masks anywhere now, you know. So that's something else to think about. You need to spend a long time online in order to build up that amount of users. You need to build anticipation at the beginning to get people on board. So there's 7 of you now, hi. And something else you need to do is be kind of visually interesting. And that's something you're going, she's not visually interesting. I did try it at the beginning with that, if you're watching at the beginning. But things like props. So I have props. Do you want to know how I feel about Candice, Chewbacca woman, if that was her name? This is how I feel about Candice. You're awesome, Mrs. Chewbacca. I want to go down the pub with you. So just if they can find anything that's visually pleasing, I've seen a few other things. I've had to calm myself down because I was buying everything. But these, we have a pound shop in Ireland. So if you're not in Ireland, you wouldn't have heard of it, called Deals. If you're in the UK, it's basically, I see the Poundland or Pound World. It's just we have euros here, so it's rebranded. €1.49 each, €1.49 each. So when I talk about Twitter in a moment, I'll be using these. So props are good. Whiteboards. So previously, and thanks to Kate, I don't know if you're there. Say hi if you are, Kate. Kate pointed out that my whiteboard was too big. If you watch previous episodes of Friday Afternoon Coffee, you'll have seen me struggling with a gigantic whiteboard and trying to get it into frame. So I bought a couple of small ones. This one, I think it was €3. Oh, you're not going to see that yet. Sneak peek. It was €3 from Eason, which is a bit like WH Smith if you're in England. Staples, perhaps, if you're in the United States. So these sort of things to be able to communicate, because at the moment, if you're just broadcasting from your mobile, you can't put on graphics on top, but I'm coming to that. Hang on there. Got to get my iPad. iPad has been playing up all day. It's been really slow. It always does that on Facebook Live Day, just to test me. So here's an article from Joel.com. You'll find it on his blog, which is joelcom.com. Joel.com with 2 M's. I will leave links to all of this stuff underneath in the comments section. Now, Joel wrote this article on live streaming. He's been doing a lot of live streaming himself. It's worth having a look at his Facebook page. He's got a group, live video content mastermind, I think it's called. He does some great live broadcasts. They're usually kind of at 4 a.m. my time, so I don't get to watch them all live. But he's written a really interesting article about this, because now you can actually stream from your PC to a Facebook business page. It takes a little bit of setting up and you'll need some software, and I knew I'd forget what the software was called, OBS Suite or something along those lines. Again, I'll leave a link at the bottom, and you can get this. It's open source software, OSB, that would make sense. It's open source software, so you can just download it onto your computer, you hook it into your Facebook page, and then you can use a third-party device to go live. So you can do things like you can broadcast a blab into your Facebook page. It looks really cool. I haven't tried it yet. I'm hoping to have it up by next week's Friday coffee, so 4 p.m. next week, maybe I'll be doing something a little bit more fancy. So check out that article from Joel.com. The final thing is your background. I spend a lot of time doing this background, but because I'm on a mobile phone, I don't really have control over what looks bright and what looks dark. So at the moment, this is overexposed in the background. I'd like to play with that a little bit. I have a light, thanks to Mandy Mortimer, on order. So maybe next week you'll be able to see my background as well as you can see me. Okay, so we skipped on to topic number 3 all of a sudden. Did I disappear? Hey, Jenny. I think I disappeared for a moment there. Hey, Dave. Hey, okay, I'm getting loads of comments coming in. Ian Anderson Gray's post. Will you leave me a link for that, Jenny? And hello, Dublin. And Dave Taylor, hello, from Southend, which is Essex, which is where my accent is from, for those of you that don't know. Yes, that was my iPad dying. Yes, it's still an Essex accent. Okay, on to topic number 2. Hello, Girly Cat from Dublin. Sorry, all my comments came in at once, so I missed you all. Right, okay, so topic number 2 was those Twitter changes. In case you missed this during the week, because when you work in social media, you just assume that everyone knows about social media. And you don't. So there's me talking on Twitter about these Twitter changes, and I suddenly realised that half my audience doesn't know what I'm talking about. So Facebook released a blog post earlier in the week announcing that they were going to make some pretty major changes. And if you follow my blog, there was an inkling about these before. And the first one is basically they're extending the Twitter count beyond 140 characters without extending it beyond 140 characters. They're just changing what is going to count as those 140 characters. So the you talk posh for an Essex girl. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I do. I think I used to be more common. It's Ireland. Ireland has made me posh. So the first thing they're going to cut out of your Twitter account is the @ mention. So when you are using an @ username, so I'm @spiderworking, if you use that in a tweet, that's not going to count towards your 140 characters. And in fact, I went and double checked this. You'll be able to use up to 50 Twitter handles in your tweet without it counting towards your 140 characters, which is good because that would be way over. The second one that they're going to change is that if you add a photo, at the moment, if you add a photo or a video or an animated GIF to your tweets, that takes up 23 of your 140 characters. So they're going to eliminate that. You can add a photo, you can add a video, you can add a GIF, any media file, in fact, it won't count towards your 140 characters. The thing they didn't do, the thing that I really wanted them to do, is they didn't get rid of the link. So at the moment, any link, whatever length it is, if it's short or long, it'll take up 23 of your 140 characters on Twitter. And we were kind of hoping that that wouldn't count towards your 140 characters anymore. But yes, it does. It does. The third thing they've done is really odd. You'll be able to retweet yourself. Why would you retweet yourself? Well, I wondered why you would retweet yourself. And then I talked to people about this on Snapchat. And some people were getting back to me saying, you know, it'll help because we have a pinned post at the top of our Twitter account. And after a while, You know, people won't see that anymore. So the idea that you'll actually be able to retweet your own tweet means that you'll be able to push it out to a new audience at a different time of day. Let's see how that works. Also, the other thing you might do is quote your own tweet, because if you quote your own tweet, then you'll be able to, so if it was a historical tweet, you'll be able to say, oh, I was wrong about that. Or if you want to prove a point, I was right about that. So that might be something that you want to do. And actually, the last change was actually number 3, so I got it in the wrong order, is that at the moment, if you put a full stop before a username, that's a way to ensure that your tweet goes out to technical difficulty. That's a way to ensure your tweet goes out to all your followers. I don't think that's coming back. It is coming back. That's a way to make sure your tweet goes out to all your followers rather than goes out to just the people who follow you. So if you put a full stop at the beginning before the @reply, that's what that happens. In fact, if you put anything before a username, it means that your tweet goes out to all the people who follow you rather than just the people who follow you and the person you're talking to. That's always been really confusing, actually. It's something that I find really hard to tell people. And like, you know, I know exactly what I did wrong now. When I'm trying to explain it to people like I just did then, I get a lot of blank faces. In fact, you've no idea what I'm talking about either. Anyway, they've done away with it. Now when they introduce this, when you put an whenever you're mentioning someone or if you're not mentioning them, it's still going to appear in the news feed of all the people that follow you. So that's the 4 changes. Overall, I think it's kind of positive. I'm a bit worried about the adding 50 Twitter handles into something because we'll have to wait and see how it works. But if somebody then retweets it or replies to it, will it reply to all 50 people that were tagged? Because you already get that with photos, and it can get a little bit annoying if you get tagged in a photo and you just get all these notifications about it. So we'll see how that works. We're on to the final topic already. You know when I said I wasn't going to do 20 minutes? I'm on 19 minutes and 11 seconds now. So maybe I'll make that 20-minute mark, and that's when 100 people will flood in and watch this. Right, so finally on to emoji weirdness. And this wasn't actually an article, so I couldn't show the original article. I had to screen cap, and let's see if my iPad still works after I dropped it on the floor. I had to screen cap from another article, but this was shared by Maria Ennis O'Connor, and she'd shared a link to a newsletter. And then, of course, I couldn't find the original tweet. Did you know? So emojis look different on different devices and different systems. So what you put, you may have noticed this. So sometimes I'll copy an Apple emoji and I'll put it into a Facebook post and it comes out completely differently. Have you ever done that? So here's some examples. You see that one there? Okay, this emoji is apparently angry. You see the 3 different versions. You've got the Apple, the Google, and the Samsung version. And that's just 3. There could be like tons of different versions of this. In fact, some of them would end up being very, very misleading. So that's angry. The second guy kind of just looks like a... Whoop. The second guy just kind of looks like a weird alien, no? Right, the second emotion then is rage. And this is really, again, the Google one is really odd. Have a look. And then we've got disappointed, relieved. No, but again, the Google one. Look. Why does this matter? Well, one of the reasons I think we use emojis is, and less, I suppose, we're going to be using text with things like Snapchat, things like Facebook Live. But at the moment, we use emojis to qualify something. So if we're being sarcastic, we're going to put a winky tongue out one, so that people know we're being sarcastic or, you know, funny. And if you don't put that, people can take it the wrong way. So that's why we use emojis, to describe the emotion that we want to put alongside it, because they can't see what the expression we've got on our face is. If they're looking that disparate, let's see if I can find another odd one, because there were a few here. If they're looking that different to each other, that's a bit worrying. So now I have to ensure that I only use emojis when I'm talking to people who also have an Apple. Yeah, look at this one. Grimacing is really, really different. Can you see that now? Look. Like the second one isn't really grimacing at all, is it? It's like some mad person. Now, either this is that Google, and the Samsung one is more of a shocked face. So where I'm putting the, for Apple, Samsung are getting a bizarre. That's almost it for, I didn't use my props. I said I was going to use my props. Oh well, next week. Before I go, I just want to tell you about something new I've just set up. So if you're a small business blogger, or if you're considering being a small business blogger, you don't have to have done it yet. That's okay. I've just set up a Facebook group, so you can join there. It's a support group where you can ask for help, or you can post your own hints and tips. If you'd like to join, this is the link you have to follow. So it's bit.ly/smallbizbloggers. Just in case you can't read my terrible handwriting. bit.ly/smallbusinessbloggers. And that's it from me for this week's Facebook Live. I'll be back here next week. See you then. Bye.